The hunted girl in the dark forest. Deep in the shadows of a glowing alien forest, the trees whispered like old ghosts. Strange creatures moved between the thick roots. The ground was wet and soft, and every step made a quiet splash. But she did not stop. Not for the cold, not for the pain. Her name was Zayla. She was not like others. She was small, thin, and her silver skin was marked with old scars. Her eyes were large and full of fear. Ever since her people were hunted and taken away, she lived alone. No family, no friends, only the forest and her memories. Tonight, something had changed. The sky had burned blue fire a few hours ago. A ship had landed. Not her kind. Not even the monsters who once came in metal suits. This was something else. Something new. Something worse. The forest told her someone was coming. Someone not born of her world. She ran. Her breath was sharp. Her feet were bare. Every noise made her heart beat faster. The trees opened into a wide area. The moonlight touched the ground here. She stopped for a second. Listened. A small beep. A soft click. Metal boots stepping over leaves. He was here. The human, Jack, had followed strange readings on his scanner. His team thought the planet was empty, but his screen had shown a fast, warm shape. Alive. Different. Could be a wild animal, they said. Could be worth something, Jack replied. He was not a soldier by heart. He had joined the mission to help explore, not to fight. But orders were orders. Still, he kept his weapon lowered. Then he saw her. For a moment, the whole world seemed quiet. She stood at the edge of the light, her silver skin almost shining. Her eyes locked with his, wide, scared, like a trapped animal. She did not move. Jack raised his hand, slow and open. No weapon, no threat. "Hey, it's okay," he said, voice soft. She didn't understand the words, but she felt the meaning. She felt the tone. Then, behind Jack, his comm unit clicked. A voice came. "Jack, what's your position? Report. Is the target hostile?" His eyes flicked to the device, then back to her. She took one small step back. "Don't," Jack whispered. "Please, stay." She didn't know why, but she paused, just long enough to see him take off his helmet. He placed it on the ground. He knelt down slowly and reached into his pack. Zayla's legs were shaking. Jack pulled out a small food bar. He unwrapped it and placed it on a flat stone, then stepped back. The scent reached her nose. Sweet, warm, something her body had not felt in weeks. She stepped forward. He didn't move. She took the bar, held it in her hand like a gift. She looked at him. Still no danger. Then she turned and ran, but not with the same fear. This time, she wasn't running away from him. She was running to think, to feel, to ask herself a question she had never asked before. Why did he not kill me? Jack stayed kneeling for a long moment. Then he smiled just a little. "Maybe there's more to this world," he whispered to the dark. Far above, in the sky, more ships were on their way. More humans, more questions, and maybe more danger. But in the forest below, a hunted girl had seen something new. A human who looked at her not with anger, but with kindness. The human who didn't shoot. The night had grown deeper. Cold winds moved through the alien trees like quiet songs of the lost. Zayla sat high on a thick tree branch, hidden among the wide purple leaves. Her silver eyes watched the ground below where the human had left the food and walked away. She still held the half-eaten food bar in her hand. It was soft, sweet, nothing like the hard roots and bitter berries she had eaten for months. But that was not what confused her. Why did he kneel? Why did he not chase her? Why did he not aim his weapon? Her people had always warned her. Humans were destroyers. They came in ships and fire. They took. They hunted. They never stopped. But this one did not follow those rules. The stars shifted above, and Zayla climbed down from the tree. She moved like a shadow, silent, smooth. Her steps made no sound. She followed him from a distance. The human walked with care, checking his scanner every few minutes. He did not wear his helmet anymore. His head turned often, as if listening for her. He spoke sometimes, though no one replied. "Are you there?" he said softly. "I just want to talk." She tilted her head. The tone was gentle, not like the voices of fear or anger. He sat near a small glowing pond and built a quiet camp with a small heat orb. He didn't light a fire. Maybe he knew fire would scare her. Zayla watched from the bushes, heartbeat fast. Then his comm crackled again. "Jack, respond. Target detected on thermal. Are you alone?" He sighed. "Yes, it's just me out here. No hostiles." It was a false read. A long pause. "Understood. Returning to camp. Keep your tracker on." Jack turned the comm off. His shoulders dropped. He leaned back against a tree and looked up. Zayla crept a little closer, still hidden. She saw him open his hand. He held something small and glowing. A picture. 2 humans, a woman and a child. He spoke again, soft and broken. "My daughter. She would have been scared too. Probably more scared than you." Zayla didn't know the words, but she felt something stir in her chest. Something strange. Not fear, not hunger. Something warm. Then a sound broke the moment. A snap, loud and sharp, from the trees behind him. Jack jumped up, grabbing his weapon, but did not point it. Zayla ducked low. A black drone buzzed between the trees. Small, fast, silent. Its red light blinked as it scanned the area. Zayla knew that machine. It had chased her people before. She held her breath. Jack stepped into its path and raised his arm. "Nothing here," he said quickly. False red again. "I checked." The drone paused, then continued past him, searching. Zayla was right behind a wide root, her body pressed to the earth. Jack looked directly at her, just for a second. His eyes said one thing: "Stay low. Don't move." He was protecting her. The drone buzzed for another minute, then flew off into the sky. Zayla didn't understand this human. Why lie for her? Why risk himself? When it was finally quiet again, Jack turned back toward the pond. He did not speak. He just sat down, pulled out another food bar, and placed it on a flat stone again. Then he stood up, walked 20 steps away, and sat with his back turned. Zayla waited. Minutes passed. A breeze touched the trees. She stepped forward slowly. Closer, closer. She reached the stone, picked up the food bar, looked at it, looked at him. Then she did something she never expected herself to do. She walked forward, only a few steps, and placed something near his feet. A flower. Small, glowing blue, rare, sacred to her people. Then she ran again, not from fear, from something else, something she didn't yet understand. Jack looked down at the flower. He smiled. "You're welcome," he whispered to the empty forest. But far away, deep inside the human base, the drone had already sent its data. A red alert flashed across the command screen. Non-human contact confirmed. New order: eliminate the threat. She ran, but the human followed. The morning light on the alien planet was never golden. It came in slow waves of soft blue and green, falling through the giant leaves like glowing mist. Strange birds sang strange songs from the canopy above, but none of it brought peace to Zayla. She was running again. Her feet touched wet moss and twisted roots. Her breath came sharp and fast. She did not look back. Behind her, deep in the forest, the air had changed. It felt heavier, louder. She had heard the sounds before: the hum of machines, the stomping boots, the buzz of drones. But today, the sounds were closer. They had found her. And she had made a mistake. She had let herself get seen. Not by Jack, but by his people. By the others, the dangerous ones. The ones who brought fire. Zayla's mind raced. Her heart felt like it would break her ribs. She knew these woods better than any map. Still, she wasn't sure where to go. Her only hope was the old swamp, the poison mist that made machines fail and eyes sting. No human would enter that place willingly. But as she reached the edge of the swamp, she heard something unexpected. A voice. Zayla. It was Jack. His voice was louder now. Closer. Zayla. Wait. She turned. Her silver eyes met his again. He looked different now. Not calm. Not quiet. He looked worried. He wasn't alone. Behind him, 2 more humans were approaching with heavy armor and black rifles. One pointed into the trees. Target was here. Scanner says she's moving southeast. Jack stepped in front of them. Stop. She's not dangerous. She's a registered alien life form, the other man said. Our orders are clear. Those orders are wrong, Jack said. Firm now. You're disobeying protocol. I don't care. Zayla didn't understand the words, but she understood tone, tension, fear, and danger. So she turned and jumped into the swamp. At once, the world changed. Thick mist rolled around her, green and gold. Each breath was sharp. Her skin tingled. But she knew how to walk here, where the ground held, where it would break. Behind her, she heard shouting. She's gone into the fog. No visibility. Hold your position. But Jack didn't listen. He ran after her. Inside the mist, everything was quiet and loud at the same time. Echoes came from every direction. Every shadow looked like a monster. Zayla kept moving. But her foot slipped. Her leg sank into soft mud. She cried out softly, pulling, struggling. Jack heard her. Zayla. She froze. She was stuck. Her foot wouldn't come out. Jack found her in the mist. His scanner blinked red from overload, but he ignored it. He knelt by her and held out his hand. I've got you, he whispered. She looked at his hand, then at his face. His eyes weren't scared. They weren't angry. They were kind. Slowly, carefully, she reached out. He grabbed her wrist and pulled hard. The mud gave up, and she tumbled forward, right into his arms. For a second, they didn't move. He was warm, steady, not like the cold world around her. Then, a loud crack tore through the swamp air. A warning shot. A voice from far behind shouted, You have one chance to return, Jack. Stand down now. Jack held Zayla behind him. They'll shoot, he said quietly. They think you're a threat. I need to get you out of here. Zayla pointed toward a thick rock wall, half covered in vines. She touched a part of it. A small panel blinked. A door slid open into the ground. An ancient tunnel. She looked at Jack. He hesitated. Are you sure? She nodded. Behind them, more voices echoed through the mist. They stepped inside. As the door sealed behind them, the swamp outside went quiet again. Deep underground, the tunnel glowed with soft blue crystals. It smelled of old metal and forgotten dreams. Zayla finally spoke. Her voice was soft, broken, but brave. Why? Follow me. Jack looked at her. Because I believe in something bigger than orders. They walked deeper into the dark. High above, back at the human base, the commander stared at the red blinking signal. They've both gone dark, a soldier said. The commander's jaw tightened. Then consider them both. Fugitives. He defied the orders for her. The tunnel was quiet. The only sounds were the soft footsteps of Jack and Zayla, echoing through old alien stone. Blue crystals on the walls gave off a gentle glow, lighting the path ahead like stars frozen in rock. Zayla walked slowly. Her legs still hurt from the swamp, and her mind felt heavier than ever. Jack walked beside her, looking around with wonder. This place wasn't human. The walls were carved with strange symbols, and the air was full of a sweet electric smell. It felt ancient and alive. What is this place? Jack asked. Zayla looked at him, then at the wall. She touched one of the glowing symbols. It lit up. A soft hum filled the tunnel. Jack stepped back as light poured from the stone, forming shapes in the air. Moving images, memories. He watched, wide-eyed. An alien city full of light. Tall towers, smiling people, flying machines. Then, ships came from the sky. Ships with human symbols. The alien people raised their hands in peace. But the ships fired. Zayla stepped away from the wall, face cold. Jack was silent. His throat felt dry, his heart heavy. He had heard about the war, but they were told the aliens attacked first, that humans defended themselves. But this was different. They lied, he whispered. Zayla didn't need to understand the words. She saw the truth in his face. He looked at her. I'm sorry. She blinked. Her lips trembled. It was the first time someone said that to her. They walked deeper. The tunnel ended in a wide round room with a crystal pedestal in the center. Zayla walked to it and placed her hand on it. The crystal glowed brighter. A voice echoed from the walls. Not loud, not angry, but full of sadness and hope. Zayla looked at Jack and pointed. My mother, she said. Jack froze. The image of a woman, taller, older, with the same silver skin and glowing eyes, appeared above the crystal. She spoke in Zayla's language. Her words flowed like a song. Zayla listened, tears slowly running down her cheeks. Jack waited. When the voice ended, Zayla looked at him. Message, she said slowly, pointing to the crystal. Peace. Can we take it with us? Jack asked. Zayla nodded. She touched the base, and a small shard broke off. She handed it to Jack. It fit perfectly into his data reader. Jack stared at it. This was proof. Proof that the war was started by fear, not defense. Proof that the humans had destroyed something beautiful. He knew this could change everything. But then, his comm unit buzzed. Loud. He jumped. Zayla stepped back. He looked down. A voice came through. Jack, this is Commander Rickson. You're ordered to return to base immediately. We know you're with the alien. Do not make this worse. Jack stared at the device. Then he crushed it with his boot. The sound echoed in the chamber like a final choice. Zayla watched him with wide eyes. Why? Break? She asked. He looked at her. Because they'll come for us now. And I'm not going to let them hurt you. Zayla took a slow step forward. You protect me. Jack nodded. I made my choice. Above them, deep in the forest, ships were already moving. Soldiers geared up. The commander stood near the launch pad, face hard. He's gone rogue, he said. And that alien is a threat to Earth Command. Find them. Bring back the human if you can, but eliminate the alien. Meanwhile, back underground, Zayla led Jack through another hidden path that exited behind the cliffs. As they stepped into the light, they saw it. A massive burned field. The ruins of an old alien city. Zayla stopped. Her hands shook. This was once her home. Jack looked across the ruins, then at her. I'm sorry. Zayla closed her eyes, remembering laughter. Family. Her people. Now it was only ash. But beside her stood a human, who didn't bring war, but kindness. And above them, in the sky, dark shadows were falling fast. Ships. Jack grabbed her hand. We run. Now. They turned toward the mountains, toward a place Jack knew had a transmitter. The only chance to send the message, to tell the galaxy the truth. But would they reach it in time? The hunt had begun again. The last memory of her people. The wind howled through the ruins like a ghost crying for its home. Zayla stood in silence among the broken stones of what was once her world. The wide gray sky above them was empty, but both she and Jack knew that silence wouldn't last long. Jack looked up often. His instincts told him the human ships were closing in. Maybe an hour, maybe less. But still, he didn't rush her. Zayla knelt beside a cracked wall, her fingers brushing across faded carvings. Memories lived in these symbols, stories, songs, names of her people. Now, they were all whispers in dust. Jack finally spoke. "This message," he said, holding the glowing crystal shard. "If we can send it, will they listen?" Zayla didn't answer right away. She looked around the ruin, then at the distant hills. She pointed. "Tower. Old signal. Maybe. Still works." Jack nodded. "Let's try." They started moving, but every step felt heavier. Not just from fear, but from what this place meant. They passed a broken statue, half buried under ash, a tall figure holding a child's hand. Zayla paused. "My father," she said, barely a whisper. Jack didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. Sometimes silence is the only true respect. They kept walking, winding through shattered buildings, until they reached the edge of the ruins. High above them stood the old signal tower, leaning slightly, but still standing. They climbed carefully. The steps groaned beneath their feet. Inside the top room, the panel was cracked and dead. Wires hung loose. Dust coated every surface. "Can you fix it?" Zayla asked. Jack moved quickly, examining the core. "I can try. Give me a few minutes." Zayla stood by the window, staring out at the horizon. Then she saw it. "Jack, look." He joined her and saw them too. Dots in the sky. Dark, growing larger. "Ships." "They found us," he said, voice sharp. He turned back to the panel, hands moving faster now. He connected the crystal shard to the power input, adjusted a few switches, and hit a button. Nothing. "Come on," he muttered. "Just one signal. One message." He pulled a backup power cell from his suit and forced it into the socket. Sparks flew. The console flickered. Lights blinked. Then, the hologram appeared again. The alien queen. Zayla's mother. Her final message. Jack hit the transmit key. A low hum filled the tower. "Transmitting now," he said, breath shaky. Zayla watched the image of her mother, glowing bright in the tower room. Her voice spoke a language Jack couldn't understand, but the emotion needed no translation. Hope, sorrow, truth. The queen begged for peace. She offered knowledge, friendship, life. Jack turned to Zayla. "It's working." But then, a sound. Loud, a sharp thud. The tower shook. Zayla gasped. "They're here." Outside, 2 human dropships landed in the ruins. Armed soldiers spread out, rifles ready. Drones buzzed through the air. Inside the tower, Jack yanked the shard free and placed it in a hidden pouch. "We move now," he said. But before they could climb down, the door below exploded. Jack grabbed Zayla's hand. "Other way." They raced to the emergency ladder on the side of the tower. The wind was stronger here. The climb down was dangerous. But they had no choice. As they reached halfway, a voice shouted below. "Stop right there. Surrender." Zayla froze. Jack looked up. "Don't move. I've got you." A drone hovered near them. Its red light locked onto Zayla's chest. Beep, beep, beep. Jack took out a flare from his belt and threw it straight at the drone. A flash of light blinded it. Then the drone spun out and crashed. "Go," he shouted. They reached the ground and ran into the rocks behind the ruins. Shots rang out. Dirt exploded near Zayla's feet. Jack pulled her down behind a broken pillar. "They'll surround us if we don't keep moving." "Where now?" she asked. Jack took out a map. "There's a cave system nearby. It leads to the outer forest. We go there." But before they could move, a new voice called out from behind the smoke. "Jack, don't do this." Commander Rickson stepped forward. Armored, armed, cold. "You're a soldier," he said, "not a hero. Don't throw your life away for an alien." Jack stepped in front of Zayla. "She's not a threat. And you know it. Rickson raised his weapon. Jack didn't move. "You'll have to shoot me," Jack said calmly. The commander hesitated, and in that pause, Zayla threw a handful of dust and crystal shards from the ruins at his visor. The flash of light blinded him for 1 second. Jack tackled him. The weapon fired, but missed. Zayla grabbed Jack's hand, and together they ran into the cave system, into the dark. Behind them, the tower still glowed faintly. The message had been sent. But would the galaxy believe it? And would they survive long enough to find out? They fought for each other. The cave was dark, damp, and endless. Long roots hung from the ceiling like fingers reaching down from the earth above. Each echo from their footsteps bounced off the walls, stretching into the silence. Jack's arm bled from a cut he got while escaping. Zayla held his hand tightly as they moved deeper into the tunnels, her glowing eyes scanning every corner. Neither of them spoke. They knew the soldiers would come. But for now, they had a few minutes to breathe. Jack leaned against the wall. "We can rest here for a second." Zayla knelt beside him and opened a small pouch from her belt. Inside was a soft blue plant with a sweet smell. She crushed it gently and pressed it to his wound. He winced, but said nothing. "It will heal," she whispered. "Not fast, but strong." Jack looked at her. "You saved me." She looked back. "You first saved me." A silence passed between them, deep and heavy, but warm. Not everything had to be said with words. But then, the silence cracked. The soft sound of boots, echoing through the cave. Jack's body tensed. "They're in here." Zayla stood, pulling him to his feet. They moved again, this time faster. The path split in two. Jack pointed left. "This way leads to the river tunnel. If we can reach it, we can escape through the outer cliffs." Zayla hesitated. "The right path has something." "What do you mean?" "Something my people left. Something strong." Jack didn't understand, but he saw the look in her eyes. "You trust me?" he asked. She nodded. "Do you trust me?" He smiled. "Yes." They took the right path. The air grew colder. The crystals on the walls changed color, from soft blue to deep purple. Zayla moved ahead now, her steps faster, more sure. Then they reached it, a large chamber, round and glowing. In the center was a tall stone covered in strange writing, and on it, an old armor shaped for her people, but small, maybe made for a child. "My brothers," she said, voice distant. She walked to the armor and touched it. It lit up, slowly, then fully. The cave shook gently. Jack stepped back, unsure. "This place, what is it?" "A vow chambered," she said. "When one takes the armor, they promise to protect life." She turned to him. "I want to protect you." Before Jack could answer, they heard voices behind them. "They're close. Spread out." Jack grabbed his rifle. "We're out of time." Zayla stepped into the armor. It folded around her body like liquid steel. When she opened her eyes, they glowed brighter than before. "Go," she said to Jack. "Find the river path. I'll stop them." "No," Jack said. "We fight together." He took position beside her. The soldiers arrived at the chamber entrance, weapons raised, lights cutting through the dark. "Drop your gear," the lead soldier shouted. Zayla stepped forward, her voice echoing through the chamber. "You don't belong here." The lead soldier fired, but the armor caught it. The energy burst flashed and faded against her shield. Jack fired next. 2 shots into the ceiling. Rocks crashed down, blocking part of the tunnel. Chaos. The chamber lit up with lasers and blasts. Zayla moved fast, jumping and dodging, her armor helping her glide across the floor. She disarmed one soldier, spun, and pushed him back with a shockwave from her palm. Jack covered her side, shooting carefully, never aiming to kill, just to stop. But more were coming. Too many. They backed into a corner of the chamber. "We can't hold this," Jack said. Zayla looked up. "The vines. High tunnel. Follow me." She jumped, grabbing a hanging root. Jack followed, pulling himself up as the soldiers stormed the chamber below. From the high tunnel, they crawled forward, dirt falling into their eyes, the tunnel shaking behind them. At last, they saw light. Cold wind. They were at the cliff's edge. The sky was wide and open, but the ships were already circling. One hovered above them, searchlights cutting through the trees. Jack looked at Zayla. "We can't run anymore." Zayla held the crystal shard in her hand. "Then we show them who we are." Jack activated his suit beacon. It sent a signal to the ship overhead. "You're going to surrender?" she asked. He looked at her. "No, I'm going to make them listen." On board the command ship above, the commander watched the screen. Jack's voice came through. "This is Private Jack Rowe. I have evidence that the alien people we destroyed were peaceful. The message has already been sent to all open networks. If you shoot now, you destroy the only chance of peace this galaxy has left." Silence. The commander stared at the screen. Zayla stepped beside Jack, armor glowing, the wind blowing her silver hair. They stood together, two figures on a cliff, holding truth. And above them, the ship paused. No shots, no fire, just silence. The galaxy saw what she really was. The wind at the edge of the cliff blew strong, carrying dust and tension across the open sky. Jack and Zayla stood side by side, facing the hovering human ship above. Bright lights from the ship washed over them like judgment. Zayla's hand gripped the crystal shard tightly. Her armor glowed faintly. Her heart beat fast, not from fear, but from something deeper. Hope. The commander's voice came through the loudspeaker, cold and sharp. "You are both ordered to surrender. This is your final warning." Jack didn't move. He reached up and pressed a button on his chest plate. A small sphere floated up from his shoulder. His personal message drone. It beeped, then projected the Queen's message again. Her soft voice filled the air. Her face appeared in the light, peaceful and proud. "We do not seek war," the alien Queen's voice said. "We seek understanding. Unity. We offer friendship to those brave enough to accept it." Zayla looked up at the image of her mother. Her eyes filled with tears. The soldiers in the ship above watched in silence. Even the commander paused. Jack stepped forward and spoke loudly, so they could all hear. "This girl, this person, risked her life to protect the truth. Her people were peaceful. We destroyed them because we were afraid. But now we have a chance to change." He looked at Zayla. "She is not a threat. She is a survivor, a protector, and she is not alone." The drone sent the message across open networks, into space, bouncing off satellites, reaching far into human and alien systems. The truth was out now. Nothing could stop it. But then, a shot rang out. From the trees behind them. Zayla gasped. Jack turned fast. Sniper. He pushed Zayla to the ground just as his second shot hit the rock beside them. Soldiers rushed from the forest, rogue operatives who had orders to kill, no matter the message. The ship above activated defense mode. Alarms blared. Chaos again. Zayla pulled Jack behind a stone. "You're hurt." He looked at his arm. Another hit, this time worse. "Doesn't matter. Keep the shard safe." "No," she said, voice shaking. "We end this. Together." She stood up, the armor glowing brighter. For a moment, she seemed to become more than herself, like her mother before her. She raised the shard high. Light exploded from it, a blinding pulse that forced everyone to stop, to look. Then, a deep voice echoed from above. "This is Central Galactic Command." A new ship entered the sky, massive, silver, with the seal of peacekeepers. They had received the transmission. They had come. "We have received your evidence. Hostilities are to cease immediately. Lay down your weapons." The rogue soldiers froze. One by one, they dropped their rifles. The commander on the original ship lowered his head. "We were wrong," he whispered. Peacekeepers landed in the ruins. Medics rushed to Jack and Zayla. Jack was placed on a stretcher, but he held her hand. "You did it," he said, weak but smiling. Zayla nodded, eyes shining. "No," she whispered. "We did." Weeks later, the galaxy had changed. The Queen's message was played across hundreds of systems. Schools taught the real story. Protests rose against the war, and the peace treaty between humans and Zayla's people was signed under the stars. Zayla was no longer hiding. She walked through human cities, no longer feared. Children ran to her with smiles. They called her the Silver Heart, a symbol of strength and truth. And Jack, he stood beside her always. They had become more than heroes, more than survivors. They were proof that fear could be replaced with trust, and hate replaced with kindness. In the final scene, Zayla visited the same forest where it all began. The leaves still glowed. The air still whispered. She placed a flower where her mother's voice had first echoed. Behind her, Jack stepped forward. "You ready?" he asked. She turned and smiled. Yes. They walked away together, into a new future neither of them had imagined. Not as enemies, but as equals, as friends, as a promise to the galaxy that peace was possible. The end.